AskReddit by Ferocious Kitten Rose. Physically disabled users of Reddit, what are some less commonly talked about struggles that come with your disability? Not me, but my dad is blind. Lots of home appliances have been going from physical knobs and buttons with clear distinct functions to touchscreen panels, some without even any type of sound or tactile cue to let the person know. Touchscreens also absolutely suck for those of us with hand tremors and proprioception, position sense issues. If you miss a physical button, it's no problem. Just slide your finger to where it needs to be and push. If you miss on a touchscreen, fuck you, you're going to wherever that touch sends you. Bowel and bladder issues. It may not be obvious, but they can be a constant issue. Also pain that isn't obvious. Having to power through meetings you need to lead and be interactive and on camera or in person, when you really just need to shit your guts out and are cramping so hard you're getting a sweaty forehead and want to pass out. Yeah, not fun. Or trying not to be late to work, because you don't want to be explaining you were glued to the toilet seat. I have chronic pain from being crushed in a head-on with a semi. I use low impact, high intensity exercise as my go-to pain management. If my muscles are sore from working out, my chronic pain isn't always the focus. This has me in really good shape but still very much disabled. Unfortunately, that makes it look like I'm a completely able-bodied person that's just lazy. I get this. I use exercise to cope with chronic pain too. So I'm relatively fit. But moving my body in certain ways still just doesn't work. When I exercise I can do my own routine so it won't hurt me worse. But sometimes I get invited to activities that I just can't or really shouldn't do. Or being expected to do certain tasks at work. I have nerve damage from falling out of a tree, mostly in my left leg. The lack of energy to do even the most mundane things. Feeling bummed out and in pain a lot. Showering is so hard. I have to psych myself up to do it and plan for lots of downtime after, and if I do skip a shower then I'm paranoid that I'm rank. All of which is super depressing too. I use a cane, and sometimes my fiancée forget I only have one hand available when standing. Also the amount of energy required to do the same activities. I'm a new cane user and the amount of times my mom leaves me to carry more than one thing is shocking. Also first time out I didn't get a basket, that was a mistake I only made once. Just the exhaustion from having to deal with your limitations, both physically and mentally. Doing anything always takes extra effort, and usually requires more resting to feel up to doing whatever else needs to be done. As a disabled person who works, I usually only have enough energy to make dinner when I get home. So chores tend to pile up, and some jobs just never get done because it requires more energy than I have in one day, unless I get someone else to do it for me. Oh, I get this completely. And you can't just fight your way through fatigue. It's like the car is out of gas. A pep talk isn't fuel, it's just annoying. I work, too, and my medication has helped so much. But I still struggle big time with laundry, cooking, cleaning. The cat has to be fed, watered, etc. He has stuck with me through this, so he gets priority. Do you use any of the services like Grubhub or grocery delivery apps? Not always. Being able to tell when an illness or injury is bad enough to need medical attention. When nauseous, fatigued, and in a noticeable amount of pain is just your constant state of being. It's not easy to know when something worse might be going on or if you're just having a bad flare-up. So true. Farts are wheelchair height. This absolutely killed me. The fact that it's hard to keep friends because you have to cancel last minute so often. It's not that I don't want to go, I so want to go, but my body said no. Only the best of friends stick around after years of this. I'm the disabled ones and none of my friends will travel for me, but I travel for them all the time. They all ended up buying super inaccessible homes. I don't blame them for that. So I'm finally drawing the line. They can come to me at least as many times as I go to them. People get mad when I'm standing in the disabled line. Yes, I fucking noticed I'm in the disabled line. Thanks for reminding me of that. Deleted. I am disabled and a part-time forearm crutch user. I have been accused for doing this to get attention because I'm young and I don't look disabled. Well, you didn't look like an asshole until you spoke. Physically disabled since birth, don't make enough to make ends meet but makes too much for disability assistance. Fuck the system. Menus up way behind the cash registers. I've always wondered if it gave people with normal sight problems. I hate when they do that. It's so hard to read fine details. The heinous need to be near a bathroom at all times. You wouldn't think, but so many places don't have bathrooms and it really limits where you can go and how you socialize. It's very limiting. If you have an illness that requires immediate access to a bathroom, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, interstitial cystitis, ECT, and live in Colorado, Connecticut, Illinois, Kentucky, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, New York, Ohio, Oregon, Tennessee, Texas, Wisconsin, and Washington, the Bathroom Access Act exists. With proof, some urologists and gastroenterologists have a special form for this. It allows people to use employee restrooms. I have also used it as proof when using a restroom of a business I am not a customer of. One thing I forgot to add, 2 employees must be in the business, for the safety of the employees. According to Youth in 92, the number of employees vary by state, some say 3 must be present. https://en.m.wikipedia.org/wiki/restroom_access_act. I use it about once a year and every time I am thankful it exists. The social aspect. So many people get mad, like I'm not disabled enough to be using whatever help I need. But it takes me so much longer to recover from overexertion. Kind of makes me want to deposit people in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Just because they technically could tread water for 3 days doesn't mean they should have told that they would be in any condition to go to work the next day. Physical exhaustion is something people think you can just walk off when disabled or physically ill. Like me with my Lyme disease, I get painful joints and muscles, so I need to sit down after extended periods of physical stress. Get called lazy because I can't stand in one spot for 8 hours every single day and skip my way 5 kilometers home like a school kid. Accessibility gets talked about, but what gets me? Shitty accessibility. I live in Adelaide. We have a stylized gutter system in the shopping CBD that's meant to mimic a river or some shit, and it sways and curves around. Meaning all the fucking inner CBD shopping lane is uneven and slopes to the gutter that wavers around. Combined with polished stone that gets slippery when wet, it's a nightmare to try and control a wheelchair of any type. Also, steep ramps. Fucking hell, I am not that buff and strong. My shoulders dislocate under force. Your 30-degree ramp is fucking terrifying. Those ramps are also horrific for anyone who uses a walker cane crutches too. Especially if they are sloped in multiple directions or if the pavement is not well maintained. Nearly every time I have experienced a fall in public, it has been because of a poorly designed and not maintained ramp. Unsolicited advice. I literally spend all of my time working on managing my illness. I don't need you telling me to see your magic crystal infrared naturopath because it won't work. B. I don't have the energy anyway. C. I'm spending all my time, money and energy on pursuing scientific interventions. I realize people think they are helping, but the best help is listening. The amount of times people tell me I just need to take vitamins when they learn I have a dysfunctional immune system. Most of us tend to hate when people try to get offended on our behalf. We aren't children. Also, with my disability, I've been accused of having monkeypox. I have NF1 and have tumors on my face that some people mistake for monkeypox. That scenario recently happened to a girl on a train in Nick, and a doctor in Spain made a false story about a guy who had it, but it was really tumors on his legs. People are assholes. You're talking about neurofibromatosis, right? I have it too. Does it ever affect your life in other ways? I'm kinda curious considering I've never really met someone else that has it. How drained you feel when there's a flare up? My intestines were giving me trouble this morning, and I had to take a nap when it was over because bracing against the pain expends a lot of energy. Yeah, if my pain is bad enough I'd get adrenaline flowing, and then the inevitable adrenaline dump and just sheer exhaustion from high levels of pain. Ramps can be weirdly steep, doorways suck, heavy ones are the worst, and people get very angry if they think you're pretending to be disabled because you are young, or are an ambulatory wheelchair user because only paralyzed people use them. Personally, my biggest struggle that I've been working on for years is not feeling like I'm useless and a burden to everyone I love. I've come a long way, but I'm definitely not where I want to be yet mentally. The number of random people who will grab or lean on my wheelchair without permission when I'm in it would shock you. Edit. The replies from non-disabled folks who found this surprising, and disabled folks going like yeah, that happens a lot, really tells the story. Society needs to do better. I've seen people in public just push someone in a wheelchair out of their way, without asking, as if they were moving an inanimate object. I don't look disabled, so I get judged as lazy all the time. Every minute of every day is simply pain. It hurts to move, it hurts to not move, it just always hurts. Edit. Thank you all for your words of encouragement. Ugh, I completely feel your pain, literally every second of the day. I have neurological issues that sometimes affect my movements and strength. It also causes pain that never goes away. I've been accused of being lazy or too young and healthy to have a disability. If they could just live one day with the pain we chronically feel, they would understand how isolating and lonely it can make you. This is what immediately thought of. I agree with many comments here, but oh boy, it is like living in a cage. I have mild cerebral palsy but look pretty normal. I do limp when walking. There were times in college when rushing to class that people assumed I hurt myself. Twisted ankle. The big struggle was getting them to understand it's not an injury when they insisted on helping. Even with the ADA, there are still places that aren't wheelchair accessible, so you kind of get into the habit of calling ahead and asking or looking online. A depressingly large amount of holiday attractions aren't accessible, for example. Or when they put a wheelchair accessible ramp in, assume all wheelchairs are 4-wheel drive or something. You go tipping backwards cause it's so steep. That by default, you feel excluded from society, no matter how nice people are to you. Assuming there are mobility issues, just catching up with friends becomes difficult because there's too much effort for the other person to make to meet you. You cannot be spontaneous with your plans at all. This spontaneity as a disabled person is literally impossible. Oh, you suddenly changed your plans? Looks like the new building you want to go to is inaccessible, and to get there I'd need to use public transport that requires notice hours in advance for ramp access for some archaic reason, so guess I'm staying home on my own yet again tonight. I'm physically disabled, which affects my mobility, which in turn affects my mentality. I feel self-conscious about how I walk and how I look. I'm 23, still in college, and last year started to use a walker. I look around campus and see everyone else walking independently, no problems. I definitely feel like all eyes are on me, and not in a good way, although everyone is so nice. I just feel this way for some reason. I wish I could go back to when I was able to walk independently. Sometimes I even wish I wasn't disabled at all. So yeah, being physically disabled can affect you mentally as well. Edit. I also don't like that I had to start using a walker at 22. I knew as I got older my disability would affect me more, I just didn't think it would happen in my early 20s. I'm young but my body feels so much older. I also feel lonely in a way because everyone I know around my age is able-bodied, and here I am walking with a walker that you see elderly people use, although I have a blue colored one, not grey, so that's a little better lol. Really felt this one. Had to use a walker in 4th grade. So fucking embarrassing. There's nothing wrong with it, obviously, but when you're the person in the walker and you're there, surrounded by all these people that aren't, it just sucks. I'm 24 right now and in a wheelchair and I just watch the people walk freely up steps and across lawns and on beach sand at my university and I'm here in my chair feeling bitter. Feels like I'm watching my youth slip between my fingers sometimes. I'm ambulatory but use mobility aids, cane and walker. I've had people hit me with their carts and sneer I was moving too slow. I'm young for both but look much younger and people assume I must be faking it. Edit spelling. I also use a cane and sometimes walker. When I see a child, I grab onto whatever I can find cause I'm scared they're going to knock me down. I freeze in place till I feel it's safe again. Even supervised kids aren't always aware of their surroundings and can throw me off balance. Not knowing what the fuck is wrong with you but knowing you're in pain and exhausted but all the tests come back normal except for elevated inflammatory markers. Edit. Also if you have the grip strength but cleaning is still a bit overwhelming for you look into a steam cleaner. No joke. I got one by McCulloch and it makes cleaning so much easier. I can deep clean and sanitize without having to worry about cleaning products. My last ER appointment basically went as I'm stumped. You don't have what we were looking for but you also shouldn't have nearly this much inflammation for how old you are. I'm on my 3/4th specialist and have had 2 exploratory surgeries in the 2 years with this pain. It's tiring. That it's functionally illegal to get married. If you're disabled and live on disability, marriage voids your benefits. In my country, there is the same problem with cohabiting. I trust my partner, but I have ended up in poor situations previously because I have trusted the wrong people. Is it any surprise that disabled people are at a high risk of spousal abuse?